What is up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you again tonight to continue our lake breakdown of Lake Lanier out in Georgia. This one is a massive one, and what we've been doing on the last video is we've actually been talking about the offshore hotspots. So that's going to be the spots that we were able to find throughout the lake breakdown that were based on the contours of the lake. So if you remember, or if maybe you missed the videos, we've gone through this whole thing from the satellite side using Google Earth and marked all the different hot spots as far as the rocks, the debris, the laydowns. We marked the fish attractors. We have all that done. And now we're finishing it up by coming back to where we started and looking at the offshore stuff from the contour sides. And then, of course, we'll put it all together. If you've never been out to our website before, go out and check it out, simplisticfishing.com. We'll take all of this information, we'll compile it all together, we'll put it on an SD card for you, and then you can import it into your graph. You can also get the digital version as well if you want, which if you do that, we'll basically send you a link to the files. You'll take those files, you'll copy them, you'll paste them to your card, and off you go. And as always, we always send the Google Earth files when we send this out, so you can always take a look at the waypoints from the Google Earth side. And then if you want to as well, there's also what we call a .gpx file in there, and that allows you to bring in the offshore stuff and all the other waypoints into your mobile devices. And then, of course, last but not least, before we get started, I always got to put the plug in there. Go out, check out our app. Simplistic Fishing has an app now out in the Apple Store and Google Play Store. So go out, check it out, download it. It's a 3-day free trial, so you can go try it out and see if you like it. You can save your waypoints, you can create new waypoints, you can filter waypoints, all kinds of awesome stuff. And that $19.99 that you pay for the region, for in your case, if you're looking for Lanier, you're probably looking at the southeast region. You've got about 50 something lakes in there now to choose from. That monthly membership not only gets you Lanier, but also gets you all the other lakes within inside your region. So go check it out, Simplistic Fishing, on the App Store and out on the Google Play Store. All right, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Last time we ended at where I put this little waypoint for this shipwreck. So we're going to continue our focus over here on the east side, right? We're just going to continue to focus this way, and then we'll wrap around as we get to those different sections. So while we're out here, we might as well touch on this little hump that's out here in the middle. Obviously, you're going to want to take a look at that. It's not really a hump, it's more of an island, but take a look at it. I put the marker there, but really it's going to be in this general area, right? It's this nice flat top. They could get up here and feed around that island, but the other area you might want to look is going to be more over in this area right here around where you get the more of the drops. So take a look at that while you're out there. Could be a juicy little spot to look at, and it's dead center, like in the middle of the lake. All right, let's pull this back a little bit. Let's just kind of scroll down, see if we see anything else down here. Now, as I mentioned on the last video, I can't mark every single offshore hotspot on Lake Lanier. It would probably take me forever. So I tried to mark the primary ones, or at least the ones that really jumped out to me. But as we go through this video, if I see things that jump out to me as well that I didn't mark, I'm going to go ahead and point them out to you too. So there's a couple here that I want to point out. One is going to be down here. This little point right here, I definitely should have marked this one. This is a long extending point, right? And it's going back into the back of basically a shallow flats and bays where they might potentially spawn. So that is definitely going to be a good spot to go look at. So take a look right in here. Now, I will say there's a high probability that there's a hard spot there, just based on, just looking at it, how you can tell that there's, these contours get really tight. So that means there's a ledge right there, and there's a ledge right here, or some type of a drop, maybe not per se a ledge, but some sort of a drop. So you're definitely going to probably find a hard spot there. Usually you don't find that unless it's some type of a hard bottom or something like that. So more than likely I've already marked it as a hard spot on the Google Earth side, and we just can't see it from here because I took all the hard spots out and only picked the spots that were based on the contours. But definitely take a look in there. Hopefully I'm making sense to you guys. Let's look back over here too. This little hump back in here, 19 foot. Could have some potential. I like where it sets up. Again, it's not something that I marked, but definitely something I would take a look at. It even pops out when you zoom it back. So let's zoom up here. Let's take a look at this area in here. We got a couple decent little points that are going on here. And you can tell again, and if you watched the last video, you heard me talk about it a lot. I love the areas where you find those little flat tops. So on those points with the flat tops and the breaks off on the sides, those are kind of the, the best points to find for the most part. Now, that's not to say that they won't be on the rounded points sometimes, because they definitely will be. But for the most part, these are kind of the more higher percentage areas. So I've marked these for you. You can see all of those. And then as we move up here, I do want to point out a spot that I did not mark, or I didn't put a pin on it, but I want you to take a look at, and that's going to be right in here. Something's going on right in here. Look at how tight the contours are right in there. So something's here. It's 13 foot right here, 12 foot, 19 foot. So something right in there. Possible hard spot, a little hump, a hidden hump, something like that. But definitely an area you're going to want to check out. And then always, in the saddles, those are always good areas to look at too. You can see here, I've kind of marked that saddle area for you. And then as we move up here, we're going to stay on this side, right? Just looking at these points. So again, a nice long extended point going on right around in this area. I've actually marked it twice for some reason, not sure why. But really what we should do is move one of those marks over to here, because this point here could be good too. And the real reason why is because you have this road bed that comes down through here. And that road bed's actually touching off the edge of that point right there. So that could definitely be a good one that we'll want to mark. Let me go ahead and add that one in because I like it. So we'll go ahead and save that one. We'll go back. All right, let's keep going. See what else we can find. Now, a couple more good areas here that really pop out. One's going to be this point right here. You can see this got this nice road bed coming down, nice little point. We've got a nice point here as well. Out here, we've got some interesting stuff. I've marked it here, and it's more like this is kind of the saddle between this and that island that's there. But really probably want to go just a little inside where that mark is, somewhere right in here maybe. Looks like there might be a little bit of a drop going. There's 14 there and 22 here. So maybe something going on right around in here, somewhere in here in this little saddle area. But I also want to look over here. I guess I should stop using my finger. You also want to look over here and right in here too, even like right around there where that little drop is. There's so much offshore stuff on this lake. It's craziness. All right, out here off the island too. Good little spot out here, right? You've got this big flat top, and then it has some major contours right, almost right where I put that waypoint at. So you can take a look at that, maybe even looking right in here too. All right, let's keep going. Some humps out here. They're at 32 foot, but if the water's low, those could come into play. We already talked about this flat that was over here. This is another good hump out here, right at 21 foot. That one looks pretty good too. And then you can see you got some major ledges going on right here by the river channel, but stuff is so deep. I mean, we're talking like 100-foot deep, getting way out there. But you've got some stuff out here you could take a look at, and you could possibly look at that ledge, and maybe they're suspended up in 50, 60 feet and they're spotted bass or something like that. So just pay attention, I guess, to where those river channels are and keep those in mind. I don't know how this lake fishes, so I can't really tell you for sure if that would be a good idea. I can tell you for sure that all these other ones should be good ideas. All right, so you got a nice hump here. Nice little out here off of this point, probably a hard spot as well. You can tell just by looking at it, but all kinds of good stuff going on in here. So I like that. We talked about that here just a second ago. I'm getting confused here. Let's go on down. Let's move on down here. As we come in here, another spot. Hopefully you guys pick it out as soon as I'm talking about this, but another spot that I could have marked here. So if you find fish on this spot here that we have marked, pull up and check this one out. That's another hump right there, and there's a pretty good little, I don't know if it's like we'll call it a saddle between the two of them, but a really good like ditch between the two of them. So that could be a productive area as well. Moving on up, we got some more points, right? Flat tops of the points, same thing there. We get up in here, it said there was some flooded timber up here, and I don't know if the flooded timber's up in here or if it's over here. If there is timber and we saw it from the Google Earth side, we would have had it marked, but this point that comes, I'm going to call it a point. It's probably more of a hump. Let's call it a hump. This hump that's out here looks good. And then, of course, you've got the saddle between the hump that's there, too. So let's pull this back out, kind of show you guys where I'm at. We started right here. We worked our way up through all this nonsense. And we stopped right here at this buoy. So we're going to go back into this buoy, and we're going to start working our way down. So let's go. So we're going to pull back up here. And as we're coming here, again, some pretty good humps. says there's vegetation back here. We would have marked it if there is. I can't remember if there is or not, but look at how this point comes out off this dock, and look at the contours on this dock. This dock is in some pretty deep water here. It's in 30, 25 foot of water. But then if you just go over here, you're 13 foot. So there's something going on right in this little area I wanted you guys to take a look at. We're going to move up here. Just a couple more points to take a look at. This one looks interesting. It really jets out, has a nice flat top on it. And then we get back here to the bridge. This is where we turned around last time, but we get to this bridge. I talked about this on the last video, but I really like these spots that have these big flats like this. And, a lot of people go up here and try to fish the shallow stuff. And, you might catch some fish on the shallow stuff. But a lot of times if you'll pull back when you get areas like this and you'll find where those breaks are, like especially like right in here, pretty much right where my thumb is or where that finger point is. And then over here too, find the spot where that break starts, and they're typically hanging around that break waiting to go up here. Or maybe, I don't know if they're waiting, or maybe they go up here and feed and come back down here if this is their comfort zone. But anytime you see spots like this, and it looks like a really good, nice, shallow flat, but they might not be up in that flat, they might just be just off the edge of it. So always keep that in consideration when you're out there fishing. I've found some magical spots that look just like that. Like, not the type of stuff that we've been looking at lately, or like the flat points and all that, that common stuff. That's all, that works, and you definitely catch a lot of fish doing that. But I'm telling you, this has been some of my best pre-spawn and post-spawn spots. I've been finding areas like that. And watch, that spot's probably horrible. And so you guys will be like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I promise you, I promise you. All right, let's keep moving. This island, nice breaks off this island, off this side of it. It's kind of flatter back here. It's a pretty good little breaks off. And then we get back in here to this marina. This is a pretty long point. You can see here, I'm gonna keep it zoomed out for a minute, but you can see here, it's a pretty long point you might wanna check out. And then over here, when you get to this side, this point comes out, you've got a hump that's out here and about 17 foot. And you've got people that have marked it. It looks like it also has rock on it. It's probably a hard spot. But then if you pull back off there, maybe they're not that far out there. You come over here, or maybe they're in both spots. But come over here and check this out too, because this looks pretty interesting as well. All right, let's keep moving down. We're going down here by Holiday Marina, Lazy Days Marina. Just outside of the Lazy Days Marina, there's a couple things right here you can take a look at, especially if you're fishing around the marinas and just want to kick off for a minute. Check out maybe some offshore stuff or something different than fishing around marinas. But you got a hump that's out here about 30 foot. So getting a little bit deeper. Right in here, this looks interesting too. There's a little point that comes out here. It's kind of hidden in here. There's a couple of them in here, but this one looks interesting. And then you got some pretty good breaks out there. But if you pull back from there and you see those breaks, I didn't mark it, but let's pull this up. There's a little hump that's right there on the back side of that dock. Then on the inside, you've got another break. So you've got some pretty interesting things from a contour perspective that are going on around these docks. Like here's another spot back here. I don't think you could get to it, or maybe you can. Maybe you can come back in this way and then cut back here. But that looks juice as well, right in there. This little point right here, if you could bring your boat in and come inside maybe right to here and fish this. These people are probably like screaming at me that own these marinas. Like, why would you be telling people to fish around the marinas, blah, blah, blah. Well, we like fishing around marinas. It's fun. Okay, let's keep going. Let's move on down. We've got a nice little point here as well you could take a look at. Another hump that's out here. This one looks juicy. And if you get off the outside of this hump where this one is, look at the breaks that are going on. I mean, we're talking major drops going on in that area. This long hump that's out here, I thought it was a point, but it looks like it's disconnected. But really long hump, but pretty much anywhere. You're gonna have to just do this as you go through, or if you don't want to do that and go on the top and spook them, just stay out here more to the side and do some side scanning. But guaranteed you're gonna find something in there. Plus that's an area where people are gonna put stuff, right? Like trees and brush piles and stuff like that. So gonna be a good spot to take a look at. High percentage area. Off this island, you can see the contour breaks are really, really strong here. So you'll want to take a look at that. It's got some really nice breaks off the backside of that. Nice little point here, another point here. I don't know if we had anything back in here. We do have this submerged bridge that's back here. Now, sometimes on Navionics it says there's submerged bridge, and I go out there and there's no bridge. But take a look and see if there is. This one would be in about 40 foot of water, so could come into play, especially considering it's going right through a creek channel or a river channel. This is the river channel right here, these little dots. So take a look at that, and when you're there, I also want you to look at a couple more spots since we're on this video and we're just talking fishing. I like this right here, right? You got this flat top that comes off this point, but if you follow that bridge, the roadbed is somewhere right in here. So take a look right in here. See if you can find anything in that little area. There's a couple more spots that just kind of jump out to me. Maybe here, you know, maybe around right in here, around this point. This looks like it could be juicy because you got that creek channel that kind of comes up like this and then it swings out. So maybe right in here, that might actually be what's causing that. So that little area in there. I think that ends us for that. So let's keep moving up. We're now on the just north of the University Yacht Club. You can see we got several different spots in here to take a look at. And a lot of this stuff is just really like common looking offshore stuff that you probably want to go jump on, right? So long points that come out with big drops on the end of them close to a creek channel. In here, you've got this little point that comes out here and makes a little hook with some pretty good drops. It's right by that buoy. You've got another one that's up here. Some interesting things going on. I'm going to zoom it back to show you guys, but it kind of comes out here and then it makes this little hook. So right in there. And then over here, you've got a hard spot likely, but also a nice hump that comes out here. And these humps, they're going to come into play at some point in the year. You know, summertime especially. I love fishing the humps in the summertime. And I like fishing these things in the fall. Now, actually, I wouldn't say fall. This is more pre-spawn, post-spawn here. But if you find this point out on the main lake, I like fishing that in the fall. And then if you find this point in, you know, spring, early spring, or late spring, this would be a spot I would look at as well. So nice little stopping spot. If they're going to go back there and spawn, they're going to come back through here and hold up. And then that's where I'm going to try to catch them at. All right, let's keep moving up. We talked about that point. Talk about a couple more of these points here. This one looks good. Good drops going on in here. You're 9 foot, you're 14 foot. You're 9 foot, you're 15 foot. Then out here off this island, look at the breaks going on around that island. It goes from 6 foot to about 48 foot. So big drops. Moving on up here, another nice little point that comes out. I like that one. Also like this. This extends way out into the water. So you're going to be way out here, but you're only in about 20 foot, right? The top of that hump's about 20 foot. So if the water's down 5-10 foot, that's way into play, and you'll want to take a look at that. Another area here that you might want to just come up on if they're not this far out is just come in here and take a look at this. These little tricky little tiny little points that do that, those can be secretive little places sometimes for sure. And sometimes they're absolutely nothing. So you just got to check them all out. And again, I didn't want to mark them all because I would have marked 1,000 on here, but here's another one right here. Now let's go back and take a look at this. This is a nice point that comes off, and it's also leading into a big flat that's back here. Over here, another point. Actually, kind of both of these. You could fish right in here where this break is right here, but you can also go over here and check this out. Then we come up here, and this looks really juicy up here. Really good points or humps up here. Hard spots as well. I don't know if both of those are going to say offshore. One says a hump, one says offshore, so I've got them marked as a hump because I could see it from the Google Earth side. A spot here that I don't have marked is going to be up here, right? We've got this roadbed that's coming out. Let's pull this back a little bit. We got this roadbed that's coming out right through here onto a hump. I don't know how I missed that, but right there, basically where that fish is, and then also over in here, off this little hump, I would take a look at those and see if you can find anything there, especially with that fish being there. That means somebody locally's likely found something there. All right, talked about those. We talked about those humps. Let's go up here. We're on little, what is that? That stupid icon, that icon's in my way. Little Gaines Ferry Island, that's where we're at. So we're up here on Little Gaines Ferry Island. Some things to take a look at here is this roadbed that's out here. And see if that roadbed gets anywhere close to a point or anything like that. If it does, just like it does right here, that's probably going to be a good spot to look at. And it looks like I just missed some spots here. I'd like to put a spot right here. And I'd also like to put a spot right there. So I'm going to add these in so we have them. It's always interesting when you go back through the video, you find things you didn't see the first time. And I could probably do it 4 or 5 times and continue to find more and more stuff. But again, some pretty good humps out here. You maybe could look at 20, 23 foot, but I like that right there. I also like this kind of right here, you know, some pretty good drops going off the back side of that island. And you've also got this roadbed that comes in here through this saddle that could collect something. You never know. Come over here. We've got a submerged bridge out there in 70 foot of water. We're going to come up here by Van Park. Let's just pull back and see where we're at on the time. We're in about 20 minutes. We are coming up into Van Park. We're right there. So let's finish. We're right here. Let's go ahead and do all of these. And let's go up here and we'll finish at the top right here for tonight. So let's take a look at this. All right, let's jump in. We got another hump. Like these humps, man. This hump thing's on, like, sweet, because the humps are really fun to fish offshore. You don't have to go out there and have live scope or anything like that. You can literally just go out there with the Carolina rig and just throw all around the hump until you figure out where the fish are, and then just sit there and just keep casting and casting and casting, and you'll find some productive spots. But got the nice hump here, but if you come in here, you've also got, this looks interesting. Right there, it looks like you got a nice little flat top going on with some pretty good breaks. So maybe some stuff in here, obviously out in here too, around this island. Could be good. Moving down here. Some interesting stuff right here. I don't know if this is an old pond or what it is. But you got this kind of big, huge flat point. And then right in the middle of the point, you've got a really deep hole that's right there. So checking out the flat, but also coming out here and checking out where that break is right there. Move it over here, another good point up here too. This one's got some crazy stuff going on in it. It looks like it may have an old pond or something like that, or something's going on here. Got the big point, right, the flat point, and then boom, a big break, and then another flat, and then another break, and then massive breaks after that. Moving on up, another point, right, pretty good looking stuff there. Another point over here. As we look here, these are kind of the common ones. Getting over here, we've got this, it's almost like a long point that comes out here. It's underwater point, but you get way out there and you get out here into this area and it's only 16 foot by that buoy. I think it's like 15 foot right out here outside this outside. So yeah, 19 foot. So getting way out here and checking it out. Don't be scared. Just, you know, you're gonna want to come in here and fish around the island because that's your comfort zone, but kick out, check out here and check out right here too. This isn't that bad. This is 23 foot. There could be something out there, especially right here too, right by that buoy, and then over in here. All right, let's keep going. What else we got back here? Love this lake. Would love to be able to go out and fish this lake. Let's keep going. We got the point right here, comes out, nice. Big break off this point. Plus, we've talked about it before, right? Those stopping places. We're looking for places where the fish, if they're going to go back and spawn in these big flats and things like that, where are they going to go when they first are coming in, and where are they going to go when they first start coming out? Because I'm not much of a spawn. I don't like to fish for the. I don't like to really go after the fish that are actively spawning, but I love to go after the fish that are post-spawn and pre-spawn. So I'm always more or less not coming necessarily back in here looking for the spawners, but I'm pulling back. I'm looking for the ones that are coming in and going out. And this is a really good spot that you could probably find them coming in and going out. So nice little stop sign. Same thing here, nice little stop sign. And then over here, this is just a big ridge that comes up. It's only 19 foot and it's got a massive break right off the side of it. So you got like this mini ledge that's back here in the back of this cove. Come up here, just a couple more things. Nice little point there. Another one right in here. Let's zoom in just so you guys can see this a little better. This actually is a hump. Looks like a point, but you've got, there's the saddle. It breaks down here, but that hump's about 18 foot, so not too bad. I like this one. Just the way it sets up, right? It looks like it could be a really good place for them to hang out. Not only out here, but also on the ledge that's right in front of it. So look here, or maybe look here first so you don't spook them. Look here. You don't see anything out here. Pull your boat up a little bit further and look here. Just a really interesting, from a contour perspective, that looks like a really interesting spot. A couple more things back here. Just want to point out, somebody's got a little fish back here, and then underneath this bridge, someone's got something. So there's probably like an old debris pile or something like that that's back in there. Okay. Talked about that point right there just a minute ago. So let's move on up. Let's look at this point. That one looks really cool too. All right. It's got the nice flat top on it, but it's got massive break off to the side of it. It looks like you got a little creek bed back here possibly going on near that area. But look at the breaks. I mean, it's going from whatever we got here, 10 foot to about, I mean, when you get out here, it's 48 foot, but right in there is about 21 foot. So about 11 foot break going on in that little section. There's a couple other areas, you know, you might want to look at. Up here, the saddle in between that island. That looks pretty cool. Take a look at that. That one's also got some kind of a pond that's out here in the middle of it too. So maybe look over here on this side, off that break right there, or even right here off this break right here, or out here in the middle for the saddle, because they love those saddles, and then right in here too. Then again, another good little stopping spot, right? Good area for them to hang out at, go back and forth. You can always find some interesting stuff under these docks. Like if you look at this dock, it's got a point that comes way out over here. No one would ever even think to look there for a point, because it doesn't even look like a point. It kind of looks like a point, but anyways, those can be interesting spots. Like right here, you can look right underneath the walkway of that dock. Look at the breaks you got there, 10 foot to 21 foot, 11 foot drop going on right in there. So interesting stuff. Out here, you get out here, looks like this might be like a fishing pier or something like that, or maybe it's just a break wall. But you get out off the edge of the break wall, it looks like it could come into play as well. And then if that is a break wall, fish around the break wall for sure. It looks like it's got some interesting stuff. Way out here, I mean, we're getting way out. We're out in the middle of the ocean here, 28 foot of water, but another nice little hump that's out there. So some cool stuff. Let's move in here. Let's talk about these, right? These big, long, flat points, gotta love them. Some more good stuff out here too. This is getting closer to the breaks. I kind of marked those because the breaks were there. Plus, we probably saw that from the Google Earth side and said, hey, there's some kind of a hump here. Now, when you're in here, a couple more spots you could take a look at would be right here and right here. Could be nothing. Could definitely be something. You just never know till you get out there and you try them all out. All right, let's back this out. We're kind of getting back out here into the main river here, and just want to point out a few things that are out here. These are more these humps that are out here. There's one that's out here. There's another one out here that you could take a look at. This is all buoyed off, so you're going to know it's there. Right in here, if you look right here, you got this road bed that's coming really close. I mean, it would be tough to scan this stuff because some of this stuff's going to be pretty shallow, but just getting up and fishing around it, you know, wobbleheads, crankbaits, stuff like that. The saddle back in here could be productive. Getting out here off the edge of the island, getting a little bit deeper water, you know, 17 foot out here, 12 foot to 17. Out here, look at this nice little notch that's in this little hump. That one looks cool. I'm very easily entertained when I think things are cool looking because of contour lines. It shows you how old I'm getting. So we got a nice big long point that comes out here too. You could look at that one. Got a nice point here too with a flat top. Same thing here, but this one's got a little bit of a hook to it. You always like those. There's another hump that's out there. Here's another one of those interesting spots where it's like a hole. If you come out here, you're 17 foot right here, and you're probably like 10 foot right here. So something's going on right in here. And then out here by this island, you got these rocks that are going to be out here. This is going to be a nice hard spot to take a look at. And this almost looks like a saddle, but really it's just like the outside of that island, I guess you could say. But right in here, and then while you're out here and you're scanning, swing over here and take a look. There's a hidden little hump over here too to take a look at. All right, let's stop on that one. We're 28 minutes in, so I try to keep it around 30 minutes so I don't bore you guys to death. And let's change this marker to the old rec again. And when I come back for our next Lanier breakdown, we will start there and continue working our way up the north side until hopefully we can get to the top there, and then we'll start working our way back down the west side until we get this whole south region covered. Then we'll jump into the next one. Guys, I hope you're enjoying it. Make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you can, please. Go out, check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. Don't forget, download the app. It's out on the App Store, out on Google Play, Simplistic Fishing. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.